let's tease our viewers with things that they'll be
Okay.
able to find out in the workshop.
Absolutely. If they want to know where I think the markets are going, what price, when, and we're talking about Bitcoin, we're talking about stock market, we're talking about gold and silver, we're going to talk about crude oil. These are things we're going to focus on in the last half of that workshop. The first half is on the psychology of the world. You know, I talked about the collective psychology. And I'm excited about that too, because that's going to focus on what I call the Aries vortex. Just as this year, everything is going toward Jupiter, Uranus, and markets, the world has been heading toward Saturn, Neptune conjunct at 0 Aries, the Aries vortex, which is also the midpoint of Uranus and Pluto. So you got a
Okay, well,
vortex
hold
happening
on one
here.
second. Hold on one second. A lot of our viewers might not know what the Aries vortex is, what you're referring. Could you just simplify that down to what that, so they can
Yeah.
understand?
So Saturn and Neptune are going, it's a 36-year cycle. They're going to conjunct at 0 degrees Aries. Okay.
Okay.
Also, Uranus and Pluto are in trine, and its midpoint is 0 degrees Aries. And 0 degrees Aries is the vernal equinox, the spring equinox. It's when in the northern hemisphere, where most of the history of the world is taking place today, uh, it's a point where you go from darkness into light. Okay, the
Uh,
days become longer than the nights. So this whole period we've been going into for the last 36 years, maybe, and
right.
certainly since Jupiter conjunct Saturn in 2020, it's been getting more and more divisive, more and more polarized. We're not coming together. We're not unifying. And because this division, this split that's going on, this Saturn, Neptune, conjunct in Aries, the midpoint of Uranus and Pluto, you got the 4 outermost planets all interacting at 0 degrees Aries.
Ooh,
That's
yeah.
the Aries vortex. And a vortex is where all the energy comes down and culminates. That's like the abyss, the bottom of the abyss. We can't go any lower in our ability to relate to one another. We can only go up at that point. It'll take a while, it won't happen overnight, but
All
we're
right.
not, I mean, this polarization peaks at that point, and people realize, well, all these things we believe in, all these things we are against believing in,
Mhm.
it's all it's doing is polarizing us. And if we're going to
Yes.
survive as a species, we got to start communicating, connecting, and being patient, tolerant with one another, and
Right.
not work toward division, but work toward unity. I mean, some of the politicians starting to talk about that, the importance of unity and the destructiveness of division, which is caused by Saturn Neptune things, which are corruption, propaganda, misrepresentation of truth, trying to convince people that what's happening is the truth when obviously it's the opposite that's the truth, but they're trying to give another narrative. This is the world we live in now, and this is all going to peak, and people are waking up and saying, you know, you just can't trust. You can't trust the press necessarily. You can't trust a politician. And people are looking for honesty. They're looking for transparency. They're looking for authenticity. That's Saturn Neptune's higher level. That's what people are going to be
Right.
looking for. But until we get there, there is this threat of civil war, discord, and polarization. So I'll be going into that and showing some history about why I think we can come out of this. This is really the great hope for humanity, this Aries vortex.
Okay. And so you're hopeful because I know
Yeah.
some of these people, they create all this like fear, right? Like people love to like indict people with fear, but
Fear
you,
sells.
right? Fear sells,
Fear
exactly. But
sells.
you're going to show it, you're going to be illustrating to us how people can make their own decision
I
through
want hope to
their
sell.
cycles, right?
Yeah.
And, other evidence of what has occurred and what is possible.
That's right. Yeah, not only are we going through this period of great division, but we're also going through this renaissance in technology. And a renaissance in technology is really a great hope for humanity. If we don't let it destroy us, it's going to save us. So
Right.
I think I'm going for the save aspect, not the
Yeah.
disruption aspect. We got both going on parallel right now. We got an age of destruction and an age of renaissance happening simultaneously. Which is going to win? Creation always wins in the end. Destruction never wins in the end. It's only
Right.
temporary. So I'll be talking about that.
So the first half, so when we get together,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about that in a second, but the first half is going to be on on the Aries vortex.
Yeah, well, not
That,
just, yeah, the Aries vortex, but also Pluto going into Aquarius,
yeah,
Neptune going into Aries, Uranus going to Gemini, the trine of Uranus and Gemini. I'm going to talk about how I see the future evolving as these things are coming up on the horizon, and the importance of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction this year, because bear in mind where Uranus is going to be in 2025 and 2027 in trine Pluto is where Jupiter is going to be this spring. So we're getting a preview. On the
like,
day of the
is that a cool?
Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, I'm meeting with your group in Miami, Florida, and I hope a lot of people come to it because I'd like to meet them. I think they'll be interested in what I have to say, and especially if they're astrologers, because it's all based on the combination of astrology and cycles and how they tie together.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now, do you look at eclipses at all in the
Mhm.
release? Because,
Yeah, I look at eclipses, but they're not really great market timers. They're
okay,
they're they're short-term market timers, but they're long-term um, timers for collective psychology. You know, the mood of the collective changes, and it's in. You got to look at the sign it's in, the planets it's aspecting, and I'll
yeah.
talk about that too.
And then, so the second half of the workshop, that's when we're going to get into the financial markets and the timing and the trends of that. And we're going to get a little bit of some insight into your predictions for that.
Yeah, I'm going to give you my forecasts and how I think you should handle the rest of this year if you're an investor. And
Okay.
maybe a trader, a position trader, but yeah, I have a view of where I think the markets are going to go between now and the end of the year, and I'm going to share that.
Perfect.
And
And
I'll even share how I think it's going to go in the next couple weeks, because I know we have traders that are going to come to this conference. So traders
yeah,
want to know that they're not so interested in about 6 months from now. They want to know 3 days from now. So we'll go over like what to expect for the following week or two as well.
oh, right, because it'll be right after the Jupiter-Uranus
That's
conjunction,
right. That's
right?
right.
So,
Yeah.
well, what do we need to know for when we get at our desks on that Monday morning?
That's right. And it's
Right?
also a week that Mercury goes direct. So
Yeah, Mercury, that's right,
you
the
got
25th.
changes of directions of planets, and those are always very important for markets when you get multiple planets changing directions within a week of each other or 2 weeks of each other. But even Mercury by itself, the retrograde, which is happening now as you and I are talking,
Right,
is,
right.
is important. Mercury direct's somewhat important too, but it's all of those are important if there's other aspects going on nearby, and Jupiter Uranus is going on nearby. So we're in a very, I mean, March and April, and even May, but especially April, give or take a month, is probably the most geocosmic active time of the year. We got more
I,
activity going on now than any time during the year. It's a powerful time. I'll share some of that too. I'll share the latest studies on the moon in science and how they correlate with highs and lows in Bitcoin.
okay, so we're gonna get some stock market, we're gonna get regular gold, regular silver,
Regular gold, yeah.
and we're gonna get some Bitcoin.
And we're
We're gonna
talking
cover
about
the
crude oil. I
gambit.
think that's a big market right now too.
Which one?
Crude oil.
Oh,
Crude oil. We're going to talk about crude oil too.
oh, okay, so we got a
Energy. Energy. Yeah.
energy, yes. We're
Yeah.
gonna get a little bit
Traders
of,
like all that. And,
uh,
I'm also going to talk about mortgage rates because I know Southeast Florida is a
yeah,
mecca for hot real estate market. And
yes.
so I'm going to address that and where the real estate market is and where I think it's going and when I think it's going to be a good time for investing when this this asset inflationary period we're in right now, when it's going to end. It's going to be pretty wild, I think, the next couple of years. So I want to cover that with especially the real estate market in the United States, and of course it affects Southeast Florida greatly. As I said, that's where a lot of
Yeah.
the migration's taking place, not only from the United States but also from other countries. People are flooding into Florida. So
Oh,
we'll cover that.
so many. It's so busy here.
I know.
Looking forward to finding out your prediction of like,
Yeah,
yeah, because the real estate market also, right? It goes through cycles, right? It goes, it gets
absolutely.
crazy, it comes down, it
Yep.
goes crazy, comes down. So those that miss it, they're always like, when's my next opportunity in? Like, when would
There's
I,
another one coming. There's another
another
one
one
coming.
coming. Okay. So
Yeah,
if you
and
guys
we're
are
going to save our
listening,
money for that one. Yeah,
get
and of
ready
course,
because
when the
things are
markets
coming.
crash, when real estate crashes, it crashes heavy, most heavy, it seems, in Florida. you get hit the hardest because you went up the highest. You get the extremes of the peaks and the lows. So that's why I'm interested in the real estate cycle of Southeast Florida.